All right, good evening, everyone. We have a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Cape May, New Jersey. Today is Tuesday, March 17th, 2026. The time is now 1 minute past 5 p.m. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Under the Open Public Meetings Law, notice of this meeting was sent to the Cape May County Herald and the Press of Atlantic City, and a copy of the agenda was delivered to each member of City Council, posted on the City website and the City Hall Bulletin Board. Notice is hereby provided that City Council meetings are audio recorded or video streamed live. Live video streams are posted to the Cape May City website. City of Cape May is not responsible if audio recording or live video streaming of a meeting is unavailable. Roll call. Councilmember Baldwin? Here. Councilmember Bodnar?
Here.
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Here.
Councilmember Meyer?
Here.
Mayor Mullock?
Here.
City Solicitor Gillen Schwartz?
Here.
City Manager Dietrich?
Here.
Deputy Manager Riggs?
Here.
Deputy Clerk Turner?
Here.
Chief Financial Officer Reed?
Here.
And City Auditor Costello.
Here.
Any additions or deletions tonight, Council?
Anything, Council? Additions or deletions? No? Okay. Updates or old business, City Manager?
Thank you. Just an update from Public Works. They've been out diligently cleaning up after the storm, but they've also found some time. They've also started their spring planting of flowers around town. So we're trying to hope to get some good weather going this way. So Public Works is doing their job by getting some flowers out there to try to make us think it's springtime. The other thing I wanted to announce, Justin was awarded one of the top 250 local public servants in the country by the International Managers Association. So he's going to get an award coming up in May, and he was one of only 8 in New Jersey that received that award. So 250 professionals were recognized.
Congratulations.
And I just want to follow up on the Chatty Bench. If we didn't have the emergency this morning, the Chatty Bench sign was going to go up today, but the Chatty Bench sign will be going up tomorrow morning out in front of the community center. So I know we had a resident ask about that. We worked over the winter to get a sign up there, and we figured February and January wasn't necessarily the best time to put a Chatty Bench out there. So the Chatty Benches will be in full swing and ready for people to chat up a storm out in front of the community center.
Community center sign looks great. Saw the guys out there. Looks really good.
Thank you.
It does.
That's all I had this evening. Thank you.
Okay. City Solicitor?
Nothing tonight. Thank you.
City Council, any updates or old business? Okay, right into budget discussion. Lauren, Leon, take it away. Thank you.
Thanks. So tonight is the introduction to your budget, even though it's been in process for quite a while. Formally, we will introduce the budget tonight, as long as 3 of you say okay. The budget is within both caps. There's no problem with that. The ratables went up $12 million, which is kind of like the normal increase you've been having. Your fund balance is up another $1 million. We're using a lot of that to offset this budget. The budget contains a 2-cent tax increase, and let's see, you would have seen uppers introduced is just like 297. North Wildwood was 287. West Cape May hasn't introduced yet. Trying to think who along here. Seattle introduced at 3/4 cent. And these are all the good ones. The rest of them are going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cents. So you're going to be on the bottom of the tax increase list, which is a good place to be. All the services are being provided. There's nothing being cut. You're meeting all your obligations, all your salary needs, all your capital needs, all your debt service needs. So tonight, again, even though it's been a long time working on this, it's only the introduction. And that means that we now start the process. You are state exam, which means the state will look at this. And the public hearing will be on April 21st, which at that point in time, we can change any line item that you're allowed to change. We can't change debt service, can't change pension. There's a handful of things that we can't change. So if something comes along that Lauren has that needs to be changed, we can adjust it on the 21st and adopt it then. So like I said, your 2.0 is going to be way down there in the list of all the increases. I'd love to tell you what the other ones are, but I can't until they announce it. But you're going to see when the paper starts coming out. This is the first year in 52 years I didn't have a budget introduced in February. None. You know why? Everybody's waiting to see. I'm going to let him come out first and see what that number is. And I don't want to be the first one to come out with a 6.2 cent increase. So it's very tough times right now in New Jersey, as you know. This is the first increase you've had, what, Zach? Yeah. So it's been an issue everywhere in the state. You know what, health benefits have been crazy. Everything's up. So there's no place to get it from other than through taxes. You are fortunate with a lot of different revenues that you get from outsiders, the tourists that come in for parking, et cetera, beach fees. So it keeps you, hotel room tax. I mean, it's quite a bit of stuff that you get that a lot of towns can't get. So with that, Lauren, you want to say anything?
Well, I just wanted to recognize and thank everybody that helped put the budget together. It's a pretty big document, and it's definitely a team effort in putting it together. So, between all the department heads, the manager's office, Patty, my deputy, and the auditor, really, I want to thank everybody for all the effort put into this to put this document together.
Great work, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Lauren.
So I guess council comments before you do the resolution?
Council, any questions or comments?
And I'll just comment. I mean, I know that and I think my colleagues, everyone went through this pretty thoroughly with the city manager and deputy city manager and Lauren, very open to questions, comments. I feel comfortable in understanding where we are. I think that in the last 6 years, there's been a concerted effort to keep the taxes with no increase, but the reality is there's only so much revenue that does come in through the tourist-based, and we are getting to the point where that's pretty much hitting the ceiling without taking a look at generating it another way or increasing fees. And we've been pretty aggressive with doing that in the last 3 to 4 years with the help of M-Track. So, I feel comfortable in understanding where we are. And obviously, now it's a matter of evaluating and keeping an eye on operating expenses and other expenses. 90% of our budget is people. And with that comes a cost. Some of it controllable and some of it not. So that's where I think we have the opportunity to understand what's being done and how it's being done. So
I think we might be one of the only towns in the country that had our Taxpayers Association recommend that we do a tax increase the last couple years, actually. Yes, and to their point, we want to make sure we're in healthy shape, and that's exactly what we're doing in this budget. We want to make sure we maintain a good fund balance for that rainy day event. We never know. Nobody predicted COVID, obviously, so you never know what's going to happen with a tourist-based budget, which is what we have. So I think I just want to, again, echo the sentiments. Thank you very much for everyone who put a lot of work into it. And then, one other thing, Leon, if you could go over for a second, because one issue that we have right now a little bit is our cap, that we, without raising taxes for a few years there, we kind of have an issue with our cap that, we are up against it a little bit. Could you go over that?
Yeah, well, there's two caps. The one that you haven't been raising taxes on has a bank of $2,971,000. You could raise $2,971,000 more and be legal. I know you don't want to do that with every $290,000 being a penny, or $300,000 being a penny. So that would be quite a bit, but you would be allowed to. So something happens that there's a bad year, it rains every weekend, there's no beach fees, there's no parking, and your fund balance drops dramatically. You have to raise taxes once you have the ability to.
Right.
The other cap is the spending cap, is the one that's an issue. You're right up against that. That's the people cap. That's the salaries and wages, pension, health insurance. Those numbers are all crazy.
Yep.
So that's the one we have to watch out for going forward, is how are we going to get inside this cap? Because you have to, one way or another.
Right.
And you'll have really no bank running forward on that one, because we're right up against the amount that we're allowed to use this year.
Right.
So that's one task that's going to be interesting for '27. is fitting within the cap again.
If I could, real quick, with that cap, the salary and wages, there was a lot of adjusting within this budget to make sure that the different people align with whatever utility or they're actually charged to.
Right.
So that helped quite a bit as well.
It did.
So that's one thing that the public will start to see a little bit of, that there's been realignments, and they're actually adjusted to the, to wherever they need to be charged. So,
Yeah, I actually had a conversation with Deputy Manager Riggs just about that last week again, and said, there really needs, from a payroll standpoint, to be very diligent about that, because it certainly helps us recognize where those expenses are, and putting them into those utilities as appropriate is critical. So from a payroll standpoint, having the department heads be really diligent about that going forward is to our benefit, so.
thank you for all your work.
Yeah, thank you very much. Anything else, council? Okay. Moving on to the budget resolution first. Is that what we're doing?
Yes, we have 135-03, 2026, resolution for the approval by council of the local municipal budget.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Questions or comments, council? Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Brodner,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Mullick.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. So we'll see you in a month.
See you in a month.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Leanne.
And is this on the website yet?
It will be, now that you've introduced or approved it. We'll
Okay,
be putting it on the website. It'll be published as required.
My presentation was up on the website, so they kind of had a snapshot previously, but this document will go up tomorrow once we get going.
So it'll be on the website?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. It's not on this, but feel free, you want to ask? Go ahead, please. If anyone would, I'm going to open it up for public comments specifically on the budget. While Leon and Lauren are both here. Yeah.
Jules Roush, 1010 New York Avenue. Mr. Costello, what does 1 cent represent in dollars? Around 350 or
300.
how much?
300,000.
300,000?
Yes.
What would you estimate, or what is our total debt, either issued or approved, along with the debt on bond anticipation notes? In other words, where do we stand in total debt structure?
Okay. You have 42,200,000 in bonds, and authorized and unissued 3,540,000. So about 47 million total.
Thank you. I'm a big supporter of bond anticipation notes as opposed to long-term financing of items which have a life or a question of life. And tonight, there's a resolution to approve the bonding for some fire equipment and a number of things which have a life of maybe 5, 6, 7 years. Would you think there's a better chance of using bond anticipation notes for those kinds of purchases rather than 30 or 40-year financing or 20-year financing?
We do use bond anticipation notes for the small things like that. And the bond ordinance, there is a paragraph, probably paragraph 7, that says the useful life of this is X. Whatever that X is the most we can issue. Let's say it says 11.78 years. Our bond issue can only be 11 years. We can't exceed that number. So we don't have anything that's 25, 30 years old, because you pay dearly for the interest rate on those. The interest rate, the closer you are to maturity, the lower the interest rate is. So
What would you guess is the comparison between the interest rate on bond anticipation notes as opposed to long-term financing? How close are they?
I just had a sale last Tuesday, in Gibbsboro, the bonds, it was a 10-year bond, was 2.66. The notes that they were selling for 3.4. So the long-term debt was cheaper than the short-term debt, which is not normal. You know, it's upside down. Usually the short-term debt's cheaper. And the rule on the short-term debt is we can carry that note for 3 years and we got to make a payment on it, and we have to have it all paid off in 10 years. So these little things you're talking about fit notes rather well. The difference is, though, that we have our structure, we have different debt issues that fall off, and we put a new one on to take its place. So we don't have a bond sale every year. We have a bond sale whenever we accumulate enough money to sell, because they're expensive to do, so the more that we have in one sale, the cheaper. And usually we wait till one issue's fallen off, we make the last payment, we put the new one on. So we try and keep the taxpayers relatively stable over time. You've put on the firehouse, we've borrowed the money on police station, and we haven't seen an increase in debt with those two borrowings because we've been able to manage our debt service going through the years.
With the anticipation of three major projects, the desal plant, the seawall, and Cape Island Creek retention wall, those three projects are somewhere between $125 and $150 million, all of which we're going to depend on significant grant and/or low-interest loans. Of those three projects, have you looked at all as to how much of the debt can we support for those three projects?
We do this often down here. You can ask Paul, I come down probably every other month and we chart out where we're going to stand. All of it depends on how much the grants are going to be. But we got to remember, we have 4 different businesses here: the current fund, water and sewer fund, tourism, and beach utility. All of them have their own separate debt capacities. So the seawall, we're going to get money for, and we're going to borrow some, I'm sure. That'll come under the beach utility, so that'll be paid off over there. Like the police station, firehouse are paid off in the general fund. So they're all different funds that we're talking. Water and sewer is going to be another one to do the desal, minus what all the grants are. So that's spread out over many different businesses, all of which we are hoping to cover with what falls off and what comes on. Same story with each one of them. Nothing's set in stone on those yet as far as what we're getting.
Do we actually have what I'll call a debt reduction plan or program? As we've been adding a great deal of debt the last few years, but is there an actual plan to reduce debt on an ongoing basis? I've been trying to have and have submitted requests to council that they adopt a 1% increase in taxes, real estate taxes, as strictly an item for debt reduction. And there was also a request that when we had the room tax increase of 1%, that be allocated towards the debt reduction. We're adding debt, but there's no real plan other than the annual cost or for repayment.
Right, we're trying to keep the annual cost even. Remember now, you've had some serious size projects in the last 5 years here. So we can't do, you're getting to the point where after the seawall, after the desal plant, after the police station, I don't know what you have out there that's major after that. That's when we can start actually going down.
We could probably find a few others.
I'm
but-
sure you
but
could,
not-
yeah.
But in all seriousness, yeah, no. But can I just say one thing? Because I just don't want the Star and Waves to report that we have $150 million worth of projects. So my understanding is the estimate for the water department is closer to like $35 million. The seawall is $25 million. It may come in, we don't know what the bids come in, but that is the estimate, is close to $25 million. And we're getting a grant for $25 million. So the grant almost pays for the entirety of the project. Again, we have to bid it out, and it could come in at 27 or something. I don't know. And then the other one was
The other one is in the design and permitting phase, and it won't move to construction because, there again, that's going to be like the seawall extension project. We're doing the design and benefit cost analysis to apply for a FEMA hazard mitigation grant to pay for it in a majority, just like we did for the seawall extension. So most likely that project won't get put onto the books as a capital project until we know a significant source of grant funding for that project. So, we're really down in the 25, $65 million range, but we're probably getting almost half of that, if not two-thirds of that, in grant funding. So, so it's really not a lot of debt service that's going to go on there as a percentage of the total project cost.
We have also the consideration for beach replenishment, which we certainly hope we get, along with the Delaware Avenue and Wilmington Avenue projects. And I'm not sure, but I believe there's a contribution for each of those projects going forward.
The Delaware Avenue project, the revetment project, that's a county-sponsored project, so there'll be no cost share from the city. And I also believe the Wilmington Avenue project, that's an Army Corps project, that's also a county-sponsored project, not a city-sponsored project. So I don't believe there's going to be any true cost shares in that.
I had remembered that-
Your point of it being expensive is certainly true. I just don't want it to get reported that we have all that money that isn't being paid, that's all.
No, I was just trying to see what's going to be the final analysis of how much is the taxpayer going to have to come up with. But I recall with the Wilmington Avenue project, there was an agreement that the city would be contributing a certain percentage of that cost.
You mean Delaware Avenue?
No, I think you
No, Wilmington Avenue,
extension of the seawall?
Oh, the Army Corps.
The Army Corps?
yeah. The Poverty Beach, the what I'll call the wing wall.
Yeah, he's talking about the extension of the seawall.
Deputy Mayor, your microphone. Deputy Mayor. Sorry, thank you.
I thought that was an Army Corps project.
It is, but I
I don't
understood
think-
that
I didn't
we
think
were
we had
we
any
were
obligation.
we were going to make a contribution.
I think our contribution is going to be, there's some of the project that we're doing as part of our seawall extension project. In other words, the timber bulkhead that's out in front of that we're kind of doing. So there's work that's associated with that project that the city is doing as part of our FEMA seawall project. So I think that's probably where you're thinking our contribution is coming in play.
Thank you very much.
Okay, see you in a month, Leon.
Anyone else before Leon and Lauren leave? Okay. All right, we'll close public comment. Thank you very much. We'll
Thank you.
reopen public comment momentarily. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Ordinances for second reading?
Yes, we have 591-2026, ordinance amending Chapter 525 of the City Code to promote affordable housing in the C5 zoning district, with a public hearing this evening, Mayor. That's okay. Public hearing on 591. It's the C5 zoning district for affordable
Is
housing.
anyone here on 591, 2026, the C5 zoning district? Seeing none, we can close public comment. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments, council? I see Craig is here with us. If there are any questions, all good? Okay. I'm good. Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer? Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin? Yes. Mayor Mallock?
Yes.
592-2026, ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 59, Article 5, entitled Affordable Housing in the City Code, with a public hearing, Mayor.
Is anyone here wishing to speak on 592? Seeing none, we can close public comment. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mallock?
Yes. Thank you, Patty.
Bye.
593-2026, ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 59, Article 6, entitled Development Fee Requirements of the City Code, with a public hearing.
Is anyone here wishing to speak on 593? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Questions or comments? Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullock?
Yes.
596, 2026, a bond ordinance providing for various beach utility improvements by and in the City of Cape May, County of Cape May, State of New Jersey, appropriating $300,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $300,000 bonds or notes of the city to finance the costs thereof, with a public hearing.
Is anyone here wishing to speak on 596? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Any second?
I'll second.
Any questions? Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Moloch.
Yes.
597-2026, bond ordinance providing for various 2026 capital improvements by and in the City of Cape May, County of Cape May, State of New Jersey, appropriating $3,780,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,605,997 of bonds or notes of the city to finance the part of the costs thereof, with a public hearing.
Is anyone here wishing to speak on 597? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion?
I'll make,
The motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Moloch.
Yes.
598-2026, a bond ordinance providing for various water sewer utility improvements by and in the City of Cape May, County of Cape May, State of New Jersey, appropriating $400,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $400,000 bonds or notes of the city to finance the costs thereof, with a public hearing.
Is anyone here wishing to speak on 598? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll
Who's taking it?
I'll second.
Questions or comments?
Sorry, Lorraine.
Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Moloch.
Yes.
And 599-2026, bond ordinance providing supplemental funding for various water sewer utility improvements by and in the City of Cape May, County of Cape May, State of New Jersey, appropriating $1,475,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,475,000 bonds or notes to the city to finance the costs thereof, with a public hearing.
Is anyone here wishing to speak on 599? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Moloch.
Yes.
All right, next we have public portion on the resolutions only, Mayor.
Is anyone here wishing to speak on the resolutions this evening? Please come to the microphone, state your name and address. Seeing none, we'll close public comment on resolutions.
And next is the consent agenda. Is there anything council would like to remove from the consent agenda?
Council, anything you'd like to remove? Okay. Do I have a motion?
I want to make a comment.
Yeah, please.
Mayor, I just
Sure.
want to tell the mayor, manager that I really like this new format of your manager's report. And everybody, all the department heads have really thoughtful comments about what they did the last month.
Thank you. I've been working on that with the department heads, and I think I think you've seen some growth even from last month to this month, and each of the department heads are kind of putting a little more narrative to their work effort and stuff like that, adding some pictures, and I think it's just helps show council and the public what's been going on just from a little snapshot.
Well, I think it gives us a real appreciation for sort of the complexity of the work that they do and the details. And, sometimes there's things that go on that we don't really know, those specifics. And it's really been, I find it very, very informative.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank them for their hard work in
I will.
doing it. I'm
I
sure
will.
it's very time-consuming.
That's great. Any other questions or comments? Roll call? Do I
We
have
need a motion and a
I'm sorry.
second to
Do I have
accept
a
the consent
motion?
agenda.
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Moloch.
Yes.
New business, Mayor?
City Solicitor, any new business?
Just to briefly report, there was one resolution on the consent agenda supporting Senate Resolution 106. And I just wanted to note to council, there was a discussion with the HPC last night on that topic, and they of course, wanted to see what city council would do tonight in supporting that, and I think there's a sense from them that they support that and share the concerns with the new real pact regulations, and wouldn't want to see a requirement to go above 3 BFE. And in other words, I think they're satisfied with the current regulations, and they're going to have to manage that on a case-by-case basis with contributing structures in town. So a one-size-fits-all, everything has to go to this height, really does create some planning concerns for an organization like the HPC and other municipalities with historic resources that they have to manage. And that's also they are trying to work with applicants for flood resiliency, for solar panels and things like that. I think you see the HPC really try and accommodate those things where possible, but they also have to push back if it's going to impact the historic nature of the structure. So I think you're going to see them probably take a similar approach to this from a policy standpoint, but I just wanted to let the council know that the HPC is sort of looking at this the same way. That's it.
Thank you. It's a difficult discussion, just to give people the, HPC, of course, is always concerned about the look of a house if you raise it up. They don't want it to necessarily look like, those houses on stilts that you see in the Carolinas or whatever. They really obviously want to meet the regulations, but also have that historic look that we're used to. And meet the historic standards, national standards.
Right,
Well,
and I
the
think it-
designs, I'm sorry, just the design of the house isn't conducive to having it up and then
Right.
that kind of a
The
environment.
real problem that they encounter, and that they, you see a neighborhood street, some houses have been raised, some houses have been not, and then under this new standard, you might have what appears to be a normal cottage-type house that just has to meet the new elevation, and all of a sudden, it's way up in the sky compared to everything else. So, and that really does create a streetscape issue, which is precisely what the HPC has to manage, so.
And I've been talking with them, and I think that really the impact is not necessarily to the home itself as being a historic contribution, but it's really our national historic landmark status. I think that's really where the impact really lies, because as you would change that streetscape and then you start having that hodgepodge of, you look down the street and then you get something that is out of character, is that going to degrade our national landmark status as a city? So I think that that's the bigger issue that we're wrangling, and we do have exemptions for that. So I've been wanting to really engage HPC to look at that, and if they kind of concur with that, starting to be proactive with applicants, because under these new rules, every applicant has to make an application to the DEP before they make an application to the city, and that includes if it's for a fence, for a new patio, impervious coverage, an addition, and there's all different levels there's like 4 different levels of permitting or certification that you have to do, but they all have to be submitted, for a simple thing as fences, decks, additions, all those kinds of things. And so we're not just talking about a new house where we're trying to raise it high, or an addition, or those kinds of things. It has a broad impact on our city.
Great, thank you. City manager, any other updates?
No updates, thank you.
City clerk?
Yes, just a reminder that the next regular council meeting is scheduled for March 31st, Tuesday, March 31st at 5 p.m. So we will not be holding the first meeting in April. So it'll go March 31st to April 21st. And then 'tis the season, mercantile license renewal invoices were emailed out on March 6th and March 9th. So I'm going to sound like a broken record at these meetings. Everybody, please check your emails. If you are a renewing mercantile licensee, please check your junk folder first. And if you still don't have it, then you can reach out to my office either by phone or email. It would have come from the licensing@capemaycity.com. We are having a lot of people forget to include the required proof of insurance. We're about 4 years into this that the state has required that. A lot of people are not sending it in with their applications, so it's a bit of a burden on my office to kind of communicate back and forth with applicants. So I do please ask that you really carefully review the cover letter that was emailed out with the renewal applications. And if you did not get it, please reach out to my office and we can resend it to you. Okay? And that's it, Council.
Thank you. City council members, who's going first tonight? Councilman Bodnar?
Nothing tonight, Mayor, thank you.
Okay. Who do we have next? Bodnar, Baldwin. I went out of order. It threw me off.
It's okay.
Councilwoman Baldwin, I'm sorry.
Nothing.
I was throwing you for a loop. Deputy Mayor,
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Councilman Meyer, sorry.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. With that, we'll open it up for public comment. Anyone wishing to speak on any and all matters, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
Stacy Sheehan, 928 Columbia. I just have a couple questions about the boardwalk, I guess, preservation that's going on. I noticed that they're digging up the ground in front of Mermaids, but it's almost going all the way to the area we just paved.
Thank you, Craig.
Which is the first arch.
So that's, they're digging that up, so that area is concrete, and a lot of it was deteriorated, so they're digging that up to replace it with new concrete that is not cracked and broken up.
Okay, because I think didn't we just replace that?
No,
part?
not the concrete. They did, from like about where the arches start, we resurfaced that area heading towards Primal, but that area of that concrete was not new.
We just concreted over top of the rocks? I thought we concreted all over that.
No, you put asphalt, that's what had the color coating on top of it, that was widened and paved as you head west from Gurney, but that area from Gurney towards Convention Hall that we have now tearing up is old concrete that was deteriorated.
And what are they going to put down there?
Concrete.
Concrete. My next question has to do. Go ahead.
Just for the public, that's where it was like really bad, right out in front of the restaurant there. It was like a mixture of, there was a little bit of asphalt, and it was actually the top of the seawall.
Yeah.
From where the seawall used to keep going, and then it was concrete, but
Yes.
it was a hodgepodge of
Okay.
bad.
I guess,
It was where, sorry to interrupt, that's where the old restroom trailer was. It stopped right there where the restroom trailer was.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
To the left, more in front of the beach tag and the mermaid's office.
Right.
Is where they're resurfacing.
okay.
I literally didn't even see you over there.
It's like, you're like,
That
like
that
who's
was
standing up?
that was Eric Brzezinski, our superintendent of public works.
That was our DPW superintendent, Eric, saying that it was the other side of where the restroom trailer used to be, for the record.
Sorry.
Also, I guess that same project, I noticed that the seawall, the top of that wall is going up like almost a foot. And I didn't remember that being in the plans. I didn't know when that got change ordered for that height change.
It did get approved by change order. I think we had discussed it earlier, or I'll say later in last year, but I think it got formalized either at the last council meeting. I think last council meeting, the formal change order was approved.
To increase that height?
Yeah, for those certain, it wasn't the entire section. There was, I think, from Queen to Gurney, I believe it is.
Well, I see it going actually past Gurney. It's also like it's going to Decatur that it's being increased.
Yeah, it might be to Decatur. I forget what.
But I didn't know if it was going further
No, it's
down the
not.
beach drive.
It's not. We could not go down further because in areas where the promenade was at the same level as the seawall, the drainage wouldn't have allowed it because the promenade is pitched so that the drainage runs from the beach to the street, so therefore we couldn't trap the water.
Okay. And I guess, is it going to stop right at that ramp? So
Yes.
that it doesn't look
Yes, it's
odd?
going to stop
Okay.
at the ramp and transition at the ramp. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Paul.
Kind of the same way, if you look at the east end, the same way we transitioned it there, it'll kind of transition the same way at the ramp.
Okay. My next one has to do with Jacob Jones. Are we having any other information on when they're going to have another meeting about the project?
I think we're fine. I think they did reach out to me. I think at the next council meeting on the 31st, I think I'll be able to announce. I think they're just trying to pinpoint a final date of when they want to hold a public hearing, and that they're anticipating trying to maybe have a public, when I say public hearing, they're going to do one of those public Zoom sessions in advance of an upcoming council meeting, and they're just trying to figure out when their date is going to be, but it's coming up.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Hello, Raj Johnson, 826 Lafayette Street. Now that it's nicer weather, I'm noticing more e-bikes on Lafayette Street. And so my question is, have we thought about how we're going to be educating our residents and our visitors and our workforce? And not only educating, but enforcing the ordinance that we have in place.
So, Roz, this has been a constant topic of conversation with the Bike and Pedestrian Committee.
Bless you.
Bless you, as well as with the city manager's office and with the police department as well. So, and specifically those two topics, one being education, the other being enforcement. As far as education goes, I mean, the focus has been we are working through the Bike and Pedestrian Committee and in conjunction with the city, we're working on coming up with a brochure or card, much like for the low-speed vehicles that was put out a couple of years ago. So we have had a couple of meetings to, one, develop what the information should be in there, and then we're going to work on the design. And there are members of the bike committee that are involved with that. I'm participating in that. The city manager's office is participating in that. Police department is as well. So we can get all the information in and tailor it to folks. One of the reasons why we're focusing on that from an education standpoint is, as you know, our audience turns over on every few days as far as from an education standpoint. We believe that the low-speed vehicle pamphlet that was developed a couple of years ago has been very effective. It's a way to be able to distribute that information out to folks, and another pamphlet we think will be helpful along those lines. In addition, there have been discussions as far as how we can do further outreach as well. So through conversations with the city, conversations with the police department, I mean, I could tell you that we have asked to see if there's other opportunities to explore within the community, particularly with the schools and other community groups, to be able to discuss issues involving e-bike education and following what our local rules and what our local ordinances are. And we're still working on that. But yeah, and as far as the piece that you discussed regarding enforcement as well, that the city manager may be in a better position to respond to that, but I know that there have been conversations along those lines as well.
Yeah, it's just something they're going to be working on as part of their daily enforcement activities. We did do a reach out with Cape Resorts. Cape Resorts had their large training session, and they allowed us to come in and give like a little presentation on e-bikes and safety and requirements. So we are doing that outreach, and we'll continue, as Councilman Bodnar said, to, as the season approaches, get that information out.
I also thought Chief Ashall mentioned that they were doing something with the schools, that they do a normal program, with kids with education on, different things, and that they were going to add, talking about e-bikes and
There's new laws.
safety helmets and, all of the normal, education that they do. But I specifically remember having a conversation around some of the school programs that they do. But
Exactly. So there have been discussions about that. I don't have specifics on that, but I know there's been discussions along those lines. So I mean, they're definitely focused on that. And as far as I'll mention the enforcement as well, just going back to that for a moment. I know the conversation has continued on the idea of directed patrols. Last summer, I think that they were effective from my standpoint, specific deterrence and general deterrence. People know people are out there and hear about it. It starts to become, you develop a new set of habits as far as how you operate, and you modify your behavior along those lines. That's what we're looking for. That's what worked as far as I think to a certain degree with the compliance for folks with the LSVs, we're just further behind the curve as far as when it comes to the e-bikes. As far as the issue with the registration and such, that's a true educational component that we just need to explain to folks what is required. That's not something, obviously, that was imposed by any municipality. That's on the state level. And candidly, I think that people that have questions are still waiting to get some of those answers because motor vehicles needs to come up with some of the infrastructure to provide licensing and registration and such. I know our police department is on top of it to be able to educate folks who they come into contact with. And we're going to do our best to get that information out to folks as far as what they need to do. And I suspect that's one of the reasons why the legislation built in a certain buffer as far as to get all of this up to speed. Of course, when that buffer ends is when we're going to be in the prime of our season as well. So I could tell you though, Raj, this is a topic that of great interest, and we are working on this.
Well, it sounds like it's a work in progress, and
It
we'll
is.
learn by doing, right?
It is.
Yes. And also, I just want to thank the council at the last council meeting that you approved a open house on May 31st. I think that's wonderful.
May 20th.
I'm sorry, May what?
May 20.
May 20th. Yeah, sorry. Very excited about that. I'm a big advocate of communication and connection, and I think this is an incredible opportunity. So thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else this evening?
Good evening again, Jules Roush, 1010 New York Avenue. Paul, the report that you put out now of your function and the functions and all the activities, I thought that was really good, really good. Very, very, very complete. And
Thank you.
I hope a bunch of people read it because it's the only way you can really find out what's going on in town. So, I may find differences. That is very complete. I'm a little bit concerned about the increase in costs that we're going to have with regard to the seawall and Long Beach Avenue. We've added onto the original approved plans significant costs.
And we needed to.
Pardon me?
We needed to, and the reason why we needed to, I kind of briefed this at one of the last time we did a change order. So the grant that we had from the state, the construction contract was significantly less than the grant. So plus we had to have a 10% match. So I kind of had to add change order stuff in there in order to expend the entire amount of the grant. Otherwise, I would have been leaving money on the table.
So is it safe to say then that these additions are going to be paid for within the grant?
Yes.
That's great.
Plus our match.
Okay. So theoretically, we're not going to have to come up with any new money.
Correct.
Good. I'm a bit concerned about the city. We adopted a cost reimbursement requirement that when city services are requested by nonprofits, that these costs are really reimbursed back to the city. And there was a lot of time spent on creating that ordinance, and it's not being followed at all. I don't know of one instance this past year, where the reimbursement was made. There was always some reason why someone would defer that requirement. I'd like you to think about the need to have those costs reimbursed to the city. They are not budgeted for, and there are extra costs that we all have to pick up.
Are you, are you talking like police?
It's police, fire, EMT,
Okay.
Public Works, all have involvement in many of these nonprofit income-generating activities. And
My understanding was we were collecting that fee.
So if I may, counsel, and if I'm understanding, I think you're talking about more of the special event application that we implemented a few years ago. The only ones that come before council are the people who are requesting some kind of open consumption of alcohol. That's the only reason you see that, or a waiver of fees. So those are going to be the only applications that council weighs in on. There are a number of other applications that are submitted through the year that just get routed through the convention hall staff and ultimately the city manager's approval that we do charge for. So the only time you're seeing them come before council is because council has to approve open consumption of alcohol via resolution to go against the code, or the waiver of fees needs to come before council. So that's the only ones that you're seeing at these meetings. There are a number of other ones that we actually do charge and people will pay to have a special event in the
So
city.
is it fair to say then we are being reimbursed for our expenses, the city's expenses?
Generally,
in
yes.
providing-
Yeah, except the ones that come before council and ask for a waiving of the fees, which generally is something that is a nonprofit.
Can I amplify that?
Please.
Because we recently did police services agreements for West Cape May and Cape May Point. And one of the conditions that we included in the contract for each is that they each adopt and implement our extra duty provisions so that if they have private entities that are putting on these types of events, they get routed through that process and there's a cost recovery. So we expanded on that concept in addition to locally. We included it in our shared services agreements.
I mentioned earlier that I'm concerned about repaying our debt. The consumer credit card debt, as an example, is up to $1.5 trillion. And we look at our town and we see how much money we're in debt, but we don't have a plan to repay that debt. There are certain municipalities in the county that almost have a zero long-term debt. But we don't have a plan, and I think that should be a discussion that should take place of how are we going to repay the debt as opposed to just worrying about the annual cost for each of the bond debt. We don't really pay attention to how we're going to pay our debt down. We're just passing it on to the next 2 or 3 generations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Roush.
Brett Blythe, 1313 Massachusetts Avenue. Pertaining to the EV bikes, wouldn't it be with a merchant license, with the people that are renting, should they get some type of notice that they need to convey that to their tenants? And besides Cape Resort with Curtis, all the other restaurants should have some type of obligation to convey that message to their employees too.
So we're working on getting the message out to everybody. So
Okay.
as far as we can reach. So I agree.
Realtors, for sure.
I'm sorry.
Realtors, obviously, the brochure. And all.
Yes, yes. So, so we're trying to identify, those that we would want to reach, including, hotels, the bike rental businesses, shop owners that have employees or business owners that have employees that would be utilizing, those as well. So,
Through the chamber, yeah.
exactly.
But
So-
when they apply for a merchant license, do they also get, some type of requirement that they need to convey that to?
When they apply for the mercantile
Yeah.
license, we haven't included that as far as with the mercantile license, that they have to do something related to e-bikes. I mean, I think that we're finding other ways to get that information out to them to make sure that they, that they provide that information to their guests as well, and their employees. But candidly, I think we're trying to pick a method that we think is tailored specifically to, to the e-bike community.
So we did this with the low-speed vehicle pamphlet and targeted conversations with vendors who actually rented low-speed vehicles. We don't have anyone on the island currently who's renting out the bikes. So that's one of the other, unless they're doing it at, are they doing it at Shields in the Village Bike Shop? Okay.
Yeah, so if I could add, my understanding is I believe there's only one vendor that actually is renting the e-bikes, and very involved in this discussion and have these concerns. So they are someone who, what's been reported to us is they are already monitoring this closely and, addressing it they plan on addressing it going into the season as well.
But I also think that,
No, please, please.
also think that people are also, they're bringing their e-bikes in and not being aware of what the policy is. So, I understand because I've seen people unload them, and not understanding what the policy is. So I didn't know through the Tourism Bureau or whatever, that could be an added to something or whatever.
That's actually, that's really in part the focus, since we do turn over the vast majority of people that are in Cape May every few days or every week, to have a method to be able to educate, have an ongoing education campaign for people, including those businesses. So when somebody goes and checks into a hotel, the information is right there. Have the information at Convention Hall, Welcome Center, local businesses, places where people are renting. And if we can provide these to people who have, are doing individual renting homes, I'm sure we could provide that information to them as well. And we're also, these conversations are going, including using the city website as well as social media, which we've done with beach safety over throughout the year. So I would anticipate that we would use those same methods to get that information out to folks as well. So you're absolutely right. The issue that we are faced with is you constantly have people coming into town, not just renting, but bringing their e-bikes in as well. So we'll do our best to inform those, the folks that do come in as far as what is needed. And then the other hand of it, of course, is, enforcement for, within the community.
What about having some walking officers, especially I've seen on the mall with kids with their e-bikes, I think having some presence on the mall, because to me, the mall, that whole area is so important because, people would get intimidated with the e-bikes and not just the e-bikes, having dogs and stuff. There's plenty of signs, but, I would think having some walking officers, having some presence besides having the cameras, I think would be added, for people would feel more safe.
And I think we could work with Chief Fashaw in regards to even handing out some of those brochures, which they did for the golf carts when they had the LSVs.
That's the plan. That's what he anticipates doing this summer, similar to the rewards that he does for the kids with the bike helmets and
Tickets.
handing out the
Positive.
reward ticket, the positive tickets.
Yeah.
So it'll be the same kind of campaign that he's done for that
Okay.
and the low-speed vehicles.
What about at that Mac Tourist Center or the Tourist Center over there, have a little pamphlet, when people get on the, the trolley or whatever the case?
We're going to put it out as many locations
Hey,
as
okay,
we possibly
I'm just-
get. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yes, and I'm
That's
not trying
good.
to beat a
No,
dead
you're
horse
you're
here.
100% correct. That the whole idea is to try to
Yeah.
hit as many folks that come into town, and particularly, when we have high volume and
Yeah.
areas where there's turnover.
Yeah.
You're spot on. It's absolutely correct.
Yeah,
So
I'm just
I
throwing
appreciate
some
that.
ideas around
I
here.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
So, okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else this evening? Seeing none, we'll make a motion to adjourn.
Make the motion?